Hello everyone, so today, it's Nadi by the way. Today I was just going to take you through my writing process. So I have a lot of untitled documents here. Let me try and find an essay. So this is my essay competition entry. So it's about the matrix of oppression. So what happened in our school, we had a few different talks and we had to choose one of the questions, and I actually wrote an initial response, but it was a good response, but it didn't answer the question properly, because the question was, what is the matrix of oppression and how can we escape it? And I decided to talk about the situation in France and the hijab ban, and then they said it doesn't answer the question completely, so I changed my response. And I'll just take you through what I did. So before this I had a plan. I don't know if I have the plan on me, so if I find it, I'll insert a picture. If I don't, then I'll write something like, I'll have a grammar mistake. Impacted through by, let's change that. No, I'll keep it as it is. So what I did is that I planned out each section. So there was the first section, the middle section, and the concluding statements. And I ended on a question using my English language GCSE skills, even though I didn't actually sit the GCSE. Let me know if you want more English videos or more maths videos or more computer science videos. So I'll just have a little read through it. So this is how I start. How do we address privilege in society? And the technique I'm using here is drawing the reader in, asking a question. So asking the reader to realize, do they acknowledge their privilege in society? And I use in society instead of asking directly, so the reader doesn't feel attacked right from the get-go. How do we address privilege in society? You are a part of society, but you're not necessarily society itself. Everyone is a different entity. So I'll go, how do we address privilege in society? This quote was one that stood out to me during my teacher's lecture. I'll probably blur out my teacher's name, maybe. I don't know, maybe there's lots of Fulfords. And then I'll just read a little bit to you and then stop at different techniques. How do we address privilege in society? This quote was one that stood out to me during Mr. Fulford's lecture about the matrix of oppression, which discusses the conflicting ethics of oppression. So that rhymes, it's not supposed to rhyme. Oh, it kind of rhymes, so it's the same word. But you have to address the question first. This is my introduction. As an example, many of the clothes that you are wearing today are made in third world countries where the conditions of factories are abhorrent, and even more alarmingly, investigation, there should be a comma there. See, you always have to proofread. Investigation carried out by child labour statistics found that in the fashion industry globally, there are 15.6 million children aged 5 to 17. Going further to explain that half of these children are working in hazardous situations. So there, you can put a colon here or you can put a full stop, but I think it would flow better if I put a colon here. I'm just saying what happens with fast fashion. So I watch a lot of internet analysis videos like Tiffany Ferguson and other YouTubers. Luke Alexander comes to mind, who critique stuff that are happening in the world, as well as that YouTube drama. Like, I don't want to be a commentary channel in the traditional sense, but more about like world issues, and I'm really interested in politics and stuff, but I'm not going to get too political. This is just about, like, I think everyone can understand that child labor laws need to be tightened and it's like exploitative. So now I'll explain that. As a young adult who is on the cusp of becoming 17, it's terrifying to me that there are millions of children out there who are being oppressed and stripped of every right that I enjoy. Sensory language, being really direct, making the reader feel with you. That brings me to the main point of the question. What is the matrix of oppression? See, I should have proofread this properly. As explained before, the matrix of oppression in simple terms refers to the dichotomy between wanting to end oppression yet still needing the benefits that oppression provides. As Mr. Fulford said, we are all implicated. I think it's fine because I didn't put first name. We are all implicated. We all benefit in some way from child labour. You may be reading this right now on a device. See, I draw the reader in. Because this is an online essay, of course, the person is going to either be on a phone or on a laptop like I am. That device is more likely than not to contain cobalt that has been harvested by children who have no other choice but to work to protect their family. To even be able to eat at the end of the day while we idly scroll through social media on our phones, using anecdotes, saying things that we do on a daily basis, and turn our nose up at food that is nutritious. Have you ever sat down to eat and been like, oh, I don't really like this? That's what I'm trying to build an image, an environment, and that's a way of writing. If you do English language like GCSE or A level or at any level, just making sure you're drawing the reader in. While we idly scroll through social media on our phones and turn our noses up at food that is nutritious, we just don't feel like eating that day. A survey by Amnesty International found that approximately 40,000 children work in the Dominican Republic of Congo to mine cobalt. Because there's Congo and the Dominican Republic of Congo, they're two different countries that we learned in geography, and they have cobalt. It's one of the only places in the world that has cobalt, so they have deals with, and then it's just a systemic oppression, which is really sad. The intersectionality of different issues like child labour and global climate is also important to address. The factories in which these children are working in are not only oppressing them and causing them immense suffering, but also impacts every living thing on the planet, as the fossil fuels used to melt plastic, cobalt, and extract crude oil to run the machinery exploits the planet by releasing toxic greenhouse gases and are burning through the ozone layer and infecting the lungs of men, women, and children. So now I'm circling it back. I'm showing them how it affects them. Like, you're trying to be very, very direct and very direct but still academic. Like, I'm using some flowery language, I'm using emotive language, but I'm making sure I'm using words like dichotomy, like exploitative, like oppression, because these are big words that can sum up a whole sentences instead of showing a whole long metaphor. And I'll just quickly go to the end of the essay. Like, I have questions, one-liners, but how do we escape the cycle? Asking them, including current affairs, Black Lives Matter, the Me Too movement, and the situation in France, and how that's oppression and how it's systemic. Then I end it with, that common struggle is that we are all human. Finally, so let me go back a bit. But how am I impacted by the matrix? So I link it back to me. I'm impacted through the gender pay gap, though. I put through the gender pay gap, though some people are adamant that it has been resolved. That is not the case, as women's male counterparts are still earning on average 25p more than women in every pound. That adds up over time, even if you think it's a small wage gap. Feminism is a true and just cause, as it means equality for all genders, be it male, female, non-binary, or anything else. Finally, I want to say that oppression will always exist unless we find a common struggle, and that common struggle is that we are all human, so we should all be humane, shouldn't we? And that's how I end the essay. Thank you for listening to me just bang on about my essay, but I wrote it a couple months ago, maybe like around February-ish time. I don't know why this is just opening. Yeah, so subscribe, like, share the video if you know it will help anyone, and comment down below if the comments are turned on. And thank you so much for watching. I've just got this video to 9 minutes, didn't even realize. Well, that's all for now. Bye.